me, Miss Humphreys. So, one of my crazy things that I'm able to do, and if you guys see a dog just kind of randomly come into the picture, it's because my dog thinks that I'm down on the floor to love him and do that's it. But one of the things that I randomly know how to do is I can take a piece of paper like this and turn it into an origami dinosaur. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you take a regular, ordinary size piece of paper and turn it into an origami dinosaur. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take our rectangular piece of paper and make it into a perfect square. So we all know that a perfect square has all four sides that are congruent, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this upper corner and I'm going to pull it down. I'm using some old math work. I'm going to pull it down to the bottom edge. And you guys know this trick. I'm going to go ahead and make that fold. All right. And what that does is it leaves me with this extra little flap over here. Since this edge was this edge over here, I want that side edge to be the same. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pair of scissors and I'm gonna cut off this extra little side of paper. Now, if you don't have scissors, you can always fold it a couple times and then tear it off. But I happen to have scissors handy. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. So you've got something that looks like this now. Now you don't need that extra little piece of paper, and you also don't need the scissors anymore, so you can get rid of that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open up this piece of paper, and I should have a crease right down the diagonal. And I'm gonna make a second crease so I can make an X on my paper. So I'm gonna take the upper left-hand corner and meet the lower right-hand corner with it. A little bit of a perfectionist, so you'll have to excuse me. So I'm gonna make sure that folds good. And then I'm going to reopen. So now, you should have a paper that kind of sits up a little bit and you have an X on it. Once you've done that, you're gonna take the piece of paper and you're gonna flip it over. And now you wanna make a plus sign. So I want a vertical fold and a horizontal fold. So I'm gonna start with the vertical fold. I'm gonna take the left side and fold it over to the right side. Fold that good. Once I've folded that good, I'm gonna go ahead and unfold it. And I'm gonna take the top and fold it to the bottom. Try to get that even over there, there we go. All right, so once I've folded that nice and good, I'm gonna go ahead and reopen. And I should have an X and a plus sign way around. So I'm gonna take this and flip it over. Do the same thing. I'm gonna take the two sides and I'm gonna pinch and I'm gonna push. So when you take the two sides and you pinch and you push, you wanna take a look on the side. You wanna have that diamond shape or that other square shape that has four flaps. So once you've taken that and you've pushed it together, all you're gonna do is flatten it out so that you have two flaps on one side and two flaps on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that down and flatten it out. And what we have is a square, but we are holding it like a diamond that's got a fold in the middle. And you should have two flaps on the right, two flaps on the left, and it should be open on the bottom, but it should be closed on the top. So from here, we're gonna take the top flap on that right side, so that right wing, just the top one, and you're gonna fold it in to the middle, kind of like you were making a paper airplane. So I'm gonna take that and fold it into the middle. I'm gonna press down real good. And then you're gonna do the same thing with the left side. Take that top flap and fold it into that middle crease like you were gonna make a paper airplane. Crease that good. Then you're gonna take the top, and because the top is connected, you take the whole thing and you're gonna fold it down along that edge at the very top. So I'm gonna take that top, fold it down, crease it the best I can. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna undo all 3 folds. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? You're gonna take the whole piece of whole paper and you're gonna turn it over. And you're gonna repeat those same 3 folds on the opposite side. So I'm gonna take that top flap on the right and I'm gonna fold it in like I'm making a paper airplane. Fold it good. Take the flap on the left, fold it in like I'm making a paper airplane. Crease it good. Take the top, fold it down. Then I'm going to undo all 3 folds. 1, 2, 3. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to leave the paper like this, and I'm going to grab just the top layer from the very, very bottom. So I'm going to take this top layer from the very, very bottom, and I'm going to start to open it up. So as I pull it towards the top, what's going to happen is the 2 sides are going to start pulling in towards me. That's what I want to happen. So as I pull this forward, those 2 sides start pulling into the middle. You're going to keep going, and you want these 2 edges to meet in the middle. So as I pull this forward and those 2 edges come in, I'm going to go ahead and help them all the way through. And I want that to flatten out like a big, long diamond shape. Hi, baby. You're in the way, buddy. All right, thank you. So once I have that big, long diamond shape on this side, I'm gonna turn it over. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna take that top, pull it up. And as I open this up, I want those sides to start pulling in. As they start to pull in, I'm going to go ahead and help them into the middle. Make sure that this folds in correctly. I have to help it a little bit, and I'm going to flatten out my diamond shape. So what you should have is a diamond shape that's split on the bottom, and then there's 2 pieces on the top with that piece in the middle. All right. This is actually called a bird base in origami. You can make a lot of different animals from here, but we're gonna go ahead and continue to make our dinosaur. So once we've done this, I'm gonna take the top corner, just the top piece, and I'm gonna fold it down on itself. So now you should see a regular little triangle here with the piece in the back, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. And then I'm gonna take the top half, and you should see a fold down the middle like this. Take the top half and fold it down to meet the bottom half. All right, so once we've got this, we're going to make our feet and our tail. So our tail is actually already ready to go, but on the left-hand side, you should have 3 flaps, 1 on the top, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the bottom. So this one on the top is going to be your first leg. I'm going to take it, and there's a fold down the middle of this long triangle. This is a long isosceles triangle. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it down so that the edge meets that edge. So you have something that looks like this. Then, and this is a little bit complicated, but you guys can do it. You're gonna take this, and you see this fold. I wanna create another fold in this part, the lower part, that's parallel to this fold here, but I'm gonna fold it under. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it under about even with the bottom tip of this body part. So I'm gonna kind of push this under so that this line is parallel to this fold. I'm gonna do that. Now, once you've done that, we want this to be the foot. So we want the foot to come out directly horizontal, but I want this to be his heel. So I'm gonna take this flap and I'm gonna pull it this way, but I'm gonna hold it right here because I want it to stay at that point. So I want this edge to come out perfectly horizontal this way. So when I fold it, I'm gonna take it, hold it, and I'm gonna pull this way to where you can see that the paper still meets there, but this part of the foot stays horizontal. So you end up with something that looks like this. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the whole piece and we're gonna turn it over. And you can see the back side of that fold, what it looks like. And we're gonna do the same thing, but now it's on the right-hand side and we're gonna make the other leg. So I'm gonna take this right flap, fold it down so it meets that fold in the middle. Now you have a kind of a guide because you want it to be even with the other foot. So once I do that, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna fold it back so that that fold is parallel with this fold. So right about there. And then I'm gonna take his foot and I'm gonna fold it back under this way so that it is parallel, or in this case, almost congruent, if you will, to his other foot. So a lot of times what I do is I just kind of flatten it out here and fold. I'm gonna push down nice and hard so I get that fold. In there, what you have is you have two legs and a tail. So now we have to make his head. So what I'm gonna do is this part is gonna be his head. So we're gonna do what's called a reverse fold. So for the reverse fold, if you notice, there's a pocket that you can run your thumb in on that left side. And if you were to look inside, you see another piece of paper or another couple folds of paper in there. So those are gonna end up being his hands. So what you're gonna do when you take it and you're gonna put your thumb in here, and you're gonna kind of flatten out that triangle by pinching with your thumb and your forefinger. You're gonna flatten out that triangle and you're gonna push down with your forefinger and pull back up with your thumb. So it's gonna look like you're crinkling the paper, but what you're trying to do is you want this fold right here on the top to actually fold the other way. So you want it, instead of poking up this way, you want it to poke that way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to, while we do that, we want this lower edge on the top and on the back side to be even with that middle body fold. So as I pinch and I pull back, it's gonna take some manipulation, and I'm gonna pick it and I'm gonna yank it. And again, it doesn't look pretty right away, but it's okay. And I'm gonna push and I'm gonna pull. And sometimes you're gonna have to help the paper along, which is okay. But once you've got this fold going the other way, it'll be a little easier. So I'm gonna keep pulling until, and you're gonna have to help, like I said, you're gonna have to help the paper along. So you're gonna keep pulling until you've got that edge parallel or matching up with that fold in the middle like you did with the legs. So once I do that and I have it on the back side as well, I'm gonna make sure that I clean up my fold over here. So once you've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and lay it flat and I'm gonna press down. There we go. So that I have a reverse fold like this. So this little point that was left, we're gonna reverse fold this to make his hands. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get in there. Now there should be 4 pieces of paper. You're gonna get into the middle, so you should have 2 on the right and 2 on the left. And all you're gonna do again is pinch, and this time you're gonna push down with your forefinger and pull down with that thumb so that all you have is you're reversing that fold. And once you reverse that fold enough to where this point is pointed to the left, you can go ahead and just go ahead and flatten it out. And what happens is you end up with little tiny, like T-Rex hands. So another little reverse fold for his hands. All right, so working on his head, we're almost there. Up at the top, we're gonna do another reverse fold. So now we want, this is gonna be his nose. We want his nose to point over here to the left. So I'm gonna get my forefinger in there and I'm gonna pinch and I'm gonna pull this part down. Now, as you do that, you're gonna go ahead and you wanna try to start flattening this paper out. So as I pulled here, I'm gonna take my thumb and my forefinger with my opposite hand and I'm gonna try to flatten out his neck. So the way that that happens, and if the paper pays attention, there we go. You should be able to pull it completely to the left, and then as you flatten it out, that fold will go ahead and go flat on itself, and then we're gonna flatten out his head like this. You should probably see your little dinosaur now. Now, if you don't want a nice little sharp nose, if you like this, you can, but I like a little bit more of a blunted nose for my dinosaur. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the pointed nose and I'm gonna tuck it up underneath inside the little pocket, and it makes a little blunt nose. So as I take it, I'm gonna just pull it and I'm gonna tuck it up underneath. So when you tuck it up into that pocket and you push it all the way even with that fold, then you can just flatten it out and you have a little blunted nose. All right, so the only thing now is we need to go ahead and flatten out his body, because if you notice his body comes to a point down here. So what I like to do is I go ahead and I pull back his leg for right now, and I fold his body in on itself. So if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 flaps for the bottom body. So I take the top 2 flaps and I fold them in just to make it a little bit flatter. You don't have to do this step, but I do. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna fold it in to make more of a flatter body like this. Once I do that, I pull his leg back down. Then I'm gonna flip it over, push his leg out of the way, take the bottom 2 flaps, and I want it to be the same as this, so I'm gonna fold it under so that it matches with his other body. Press down, bring his leg back, and there you have it. Now you have a little origami dinosaur. I would suggest, because we used regular printer paper and not origami paper is actually a lot lighter and a lot thinner to make more folds. So what might help for you guys is if you put a paper clip on his body right here, or you staple or you tape his body together. It helps keep everything nice and together. And if you're lucky, you should be able to stand him up. Like I said, mine's kind of heavy, so he kind of does the splits. You should be able to stand him up, and now you've got an origami dinosaur. Hope y'all are having a good day, staying healthy. Don't hoard toilet paper. This is Miss Humphreys. I'll see you later.